Hello to everyone watching and thank you for tuning in today. I'm Assemblywoman Megan Dahle representing the 1st Assembly District, which encompasses the northeastern corner of our great state, 9 counties and 25,000 square miles. I hope everyone who's watching today is well and safe. I know it's hard to stay positive and think about the future during these uncertain times. That's why we wanted to start highlighting the great work that's happening in Assembly District 1 and talk with individuals and members of our community who are helping others during these times. Today, we are joined by Modoc County Sheriff Tex Dowdy and Modoc County Deputy Director of Emergency Services, Heather Hadwick. Thank you both for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Very glad to see your faces. Sheriff William Tex Dowdy is the 21st Sheriff of Modoc County. He has lived in Modoc County for 25 years. He and his wife, Lisa, have 3 adult children and 2 granddaughters, and another baby on the way.
Yes, that's true.
We have lots of grandbabies. Heather Hadwick is a Modoc County Deputy Director of Office of Emergency Services at Modoc County Sheriff's Office. Heather is the current EOC Director and Public Information Officer for the Modoc COVID-19 incident. She has such a long, great acronyms, this lady does. She and her husband, Byron, have 2 sons, and they also own Hadwick Family Farms Pumpkin Patch, which I have been to several times. It's great fun. Her husband does a fantastic job of getting those little ones excited about pumpkins.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I brought home some really big pumpkins, some great pumpkins. So we're happy that you're both here with us today to Zoom and answer some of these important questions. You know, the Assembly District, as I mentioned, is 9 counties and 25,000 square miles. So Modoc is the furthest east, and it definitely looks, you know, we talk about the comparisons across the state. One size does not fit all, and Modoc does not compare at all to LA or how we live in this rural area. So we're going to get to talk about that some today, about the differences. So can you explain the function of emergency services, Heather?
The Office of Emergency Services is here to support the boots on the ground. So from my standpoint, all incidents are responded to at a local level. When we exhaust our resources, we ask the state for help, which is Cal OES. And then if they exhaust their resources, then they would ask FEMA for help as well. In that, we have plans that we have to keep updated and rules we have to abide by and processes and procedures to make sure that we get that aid and are eligible for that help.
So Tex, how do you prepare for active emergency situations so you can respond quickly and keep your community safe?
Yes, we do a lot of training and with the OES side of things and natural disasters. We frequently have tabletop discussions. We have scenarios locally. They're equipped just like this, where a lot of places we're running. Generally, we had stockpiled long enough that we were able to support ourselves until we got the new shipments.
We rely a lot on our neighboring counties and
Yes.
those partners. Our neighboring counties and the Sheriff's Office and OES, we've all reached out to each other to help, and having big support is definitely
in that process. So what we've been telling people, what we're being told as well, is that you contact your county first, see what they have, and then from there you are taking it and going to the state and then on to the feds. Right?
Correct.
That's the process. Okay. So, but you've been able to get all the supplies and things that you needed through that process?
we have.
Yeah. We have been, yeah. Fortunately for us, we were able to keep up on our emergency trailers and that are strategically located throughout the county. And because of that, it allowed us some additional time as we waited for these supplies to get to us.
We were able to request orders from all of our 13 fire districts and from other county agencies and departments that needed help with things. So we got very lucky that way.
That's great news, because that hasn't been, the case for a lot of people across, and specifically for the rural counties seem to be very concerned that when the surge hit or came, that we would not be prepared. So I'm glad to hear that you were able to get the things that you needed. So we've heard a lot lately about unified command. Can you explain what that term means for a county?
Yeah, for us, especially in an incident like this is a health-related incident. It's not typically typical of what we're used to dealing with on the law enforcement side of it. For Stacy Spar, the Director of Health Services, comes in as a counterpart, and we run the supervise the operation jointly. And expertise is beneficial to me, being able to decide what we need to do moving forward. The incident is that we supervise the incident with a whole team of people, and it just helps it to run a lot smoother.
Recovery piece after this, all of those stages of the incident.
Yeah, so that's my next question is like about that team. Who's all on that team?
Megan, can I just interject?
Yes.
So we'll clip this out. Heather and Tex, or Sheriff, can you both try and speak up just a little bit? That way the audio comes in a little bit clearer.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry. Go ahead,
That's
Megan.
okay.
So on the unified command, who's on that team? Like you mentioned, so it's public health. Who all comes in on that unified group, and what are their expertise as far as their prior experiences?
So initially, to get the incident command team set up, five of the experts in that field. So we actually brought in CAL FIRE, and they assisted us with getting it stood up. We knew that we were going to have the PIO piece, which is going to be crucial in this incident. And I knew, as good as Heather does for us, I knew that it could quickly become overwhelming. So we brought in somebody from the Forest Service to assist in that aspect. And then we have different branches. We have a law enforcement branch, which my patrol sergeant is handling currently. We have a business branch where we brought one of the person in from the public to manage that and keep us apprised of what's going on with the businesses locally. So we have different branches that we oversee.
I mean, the incident, the sheriff and the public.
Yeah.
So also you're working with your county supervisors and everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also have a board of supervisor liaison that he comes to our EOC meeting morning and then reports out to the county. We have about 15 people on the team. And it's meshed together. We've never really worked together other than exercises. So it's, we're actually surprised at how well it's all gone. And we really put people where their strengths are. That's one of our focuses, is to make sure that this is your strength and you're gonna add to the team.
Yeah.
How often are you meeting right now?
Every morning.
Every morning.
Every morning.
Yeah.
Wow. And how many, I know you guys have done such a great job on social media, keeping people up, to date on how many tests you've performed, if they're pending. I've gotten so many compliments from people who live, here locally near us in Big Valley, because we're in Lassen County, but Modoc is right there. So you've done a really great job of communicating what you're doing. And I know that people, we live pretty remotely, but it's nice to stay connected, to know what's happening. And you guys have really done a great job with that. So in watching, there's many different parts to Assembly District 1, like we mentioned before, 9 counties. Can you tell us a little bit about Modoc County for some of the people that are watching that maybe have never been to Modoc County? Maybe describe life in Modoc County. How would we describe life in Modoc County?
Our motto is where the West still lives.
Yes.
And it's very much that. You can, the kids ride their horses to Starbucks. We do have a Starbucks though. Or they serve Starbucks. It's very rural.
Yeah, it's a large county. The recreation, we're currently encouraging that behavior right now because we know that people being locked up in their homes and having to stay home, that's not good for their mental health. We want to make sure that they're getting out, and we got a beautiful county, and we want to make sure that people are getting an opportunity to enjoy this county. You know, we're still one of those counties where on a Friday night, everybody dresses in purple and parks around the football field to root for the Braves. You know, I mean, we're very proud of our county, and people here just take care of their own here.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to want to live here. We are out of the way. You don't even drive through, really. You have to be coming here for something. And we're 100 miles from an orthodontist, 250 miles from a mall. So the people that live here love it, and they want to be here, and they appreciate our quality of life.
So that's part of my next question is, we do live remotely. Our communities are, there are challenges and blessings in that. We all, when you live here, you embrace both of those. So can you talk about some of those challenges and how you found solution to those? You know, specifically, for here, it's internet.
Yeah.
You know.
So we have had a lot of challenges, especially with information. Our first go-to is to have public meetings, and we're not supposed to do that. And our people do not have the internet. A lot of our residents don't have even landlines or cell phones. So it's different. And so we had to think outside the box. We have inserted packets with information into like our senior delivery meals. We do a lot of social media. That really is our best way to get information out fast to people. And we have the biggest following in the county. So it has helped us to relay that information.
Volunteer fire department.
Yeah.
Passing out information. We've had deputies delivering meals on occasion.
Yeah. Or supplies that they needed. We opened a public information line almost immediately so that people would call and get connected with those resources, and just to get information if they wanted to know how many tests were out that day, or they had questions about symptoms. We have it staffed 8 to 5 all week, and she's been amazing doing it. Public health has that staffed for us. We really have had to think outside the box, and the internet is one of our yeah. Now we have all these kids home too, and they're watching Netflix, and we're trying to have Zoom conferences, and our internet isn't super stable anyway. So, but so far everything's been working, and everybody's been able to get the information. We also have programs that check on our elderly. They've been our big focus because we want to make sure we're connecting with them. We've asked those programs to ask that extra question of where they're getting the information, because our newspaper's once a week. So it's hard to get them that updated current information once a week. And we've done a lot of news media interviews, this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We do radio ads, 3 times a week. So we're thinking out of the box.
Tex had told me that you guys were going to do those radio ads. I thought that was a really great idea because, I mean, I think a lot about these farmers, they're still working. They're still in their tractors. My husband's in a tractor. So they listen to the radio. That's what they do when they're out. So I thought that's a really great example of how you're reaching people.
We've had a lot of really good feedback.
And I can't say enough. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. We got a bunch of great people working on the team. We communicate a lot. Even when we're off on the weekends, there's a lot of text messaging and emailing going back and forth, prepping for the following week, discussing what we did well the week before. Lots of communication going on. A lot of us are separated from our day-to-day jobs and our boots on the ground. Our deputies, our correctional folks, our dispatchers, and at least weekly, I put out to the planning and planning groups. Hey, stay connected with your own team as well, because we're gelling with the team, but we also have to stay connected with our boots on the ground, because those people are putting in some hours and putting in a lot of hard work, and we don't want that disconnect there either.
Yeah, so I know for so often the deputies are in our rural areas are caseworkers. They're your front lines to know if there's something, happening. And we do have a lot of elderly in our communities that live remotely. And if their kids can't come to visit, I know here in Big Valley, they're still doing the Meals on Wheels and serving hundreds of meals, which is so great because it is that face-to-face connection to make sure that they're okay, that they're there. Yeah, absolutely. So what are some of the things that you guys I've seen some pretty fun stuff, drives down Main Street. What has the community been doing to support one another in creative ways?
They've been really great.
Yeah, some of that has been very enjoyable. We're getting out and about. The weather's good right now. And we're encouraging people to get out to the lakes and the reservoirs and do some fishing, hiking. I'm a big Jeep guy, so Lisa and I are out in the Jeep almost every weekend, pretty much, checking out the wildlife, seeing some country we haven't seen before. The sheriff's office is working on a geocache program that we're going to start. Hopefully, we'll get it up and rolling this weekend, and encourage people to get out and about. And again, the social distancing thing, you still want that family supporting that. Get your family out there together, a little bit of fishing, go for a drive, get out.
So I know you did a call out for masks, Heather. Wasn't there? What was it?
We did a Modoc mask challenge to give the community something to focus on and help. And we've had over 500 donated far, which is.
So I have my sister, I cannot sew. That is not a talent, but my sister lives in San Luis Obispo, and she's her and her husband and their 2 sons, but she's caregiving for my grandmother who used to live here. And so anyway, the 2 of them, I don't even know how many I delivered to you. 20, I think.
20, yeah.
Of these masks. And Marin just started sewing away, and she's like, I need a project.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty amazing that people just jump right in to community minded, and they want to do something. And right now, when you are closed in and you can't go anywhere, you need to keep your hands busy.
Yeah.
So those talented individuals that sew, that's really amazing. But
we've already dispersed like 300 of them to people that have asked for them or requested, or like social services or different departments that needed them that still do have to actively engage with the public. And our deputies go pick them up and tell them thank you, and so they're not having to come out. But our community has really stepped up. We had community members that missed going to church, so they created this drive-in church service, and everybody parks at the JOS grounds, and they play music, and they tell you to go take out dinner from one of our restaurants to help support them, and then come and listen to the sermon. And it's really cool to see everybody step up that way.
It's been very popular.
Yeah, it's really united everybody, I think, and made us really appreciate all these things that we take for granted, like having events or seeing our friends or whatever. So
well, we took a drive Sunday afternoon. We Zoomed church, and then we went because I told Brian, we typically go to our ranch. That's where we drive to. I'm like, let's go somewhere else. So we went Ash Creek and up and around and down around into Round Valley. And that was country that we've been married 21 years. I'd never taken that road. So I think it's pretty fun. We had Rosalind with us, and people are getting out. We live in the most beautiful area, and we have so many things to go see and check out. So I think people are being very creative, and I think we've been pretty positive out here. I also went to the local grocery store when I was up there last week, and everything seemed stocked, and being able to still provide groceries and things. How are your food banks doing right now? Is everything?
Our food bank is run by Teach Incorporated, and they also do our senior center. They've tripled their delivered meals with the senior center, and they have received some food bank boxes from the state. We put our order in really fast because ours just depleted, because we have very small resources for those supports, because they're not, it's not typical that this many people would need them. So, so like some of our churches have food banks, and then Teach has our organized food bank. So we had put our order in really fast, and the state got overloaded really fast. So they kind of changed the processes, and so we were in the midst of that. So, but they did get their help, and Lassen County stepped up and brought us stuff, and we have the migrant housing in Tui Lake, and Klamath County just gave us 2 pallets of food bank boxes for them. So our neighboring counties have really helped support us.
Yeah, that brings up a good point. Their sacks, and we're communicating, and it's helpful. This is a time when we're having to procedures for things that we never thought we would before. So we're sharing those things regularly, and it all out. And appreciate the North State. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, we're different, and the Lassen County and Modoc, what Shasta's this direction, and right in the middle. But Sierra County, they have very similar needs, and so that's helpful. I know the sheriffs all communicate really well, and I think that's
one from Sierra County, and models are different than ours, and that goes from county to county, and so it's nice to be able to communicate with them and support each other as well.
Right, and I've seen so much of that, which I just think is so amazing. The constant support, the community outreach for one another, and it was really good to see your faces last week in person. I think all of us now, when we get to come out and see each other, it's good. The sun is out. We're all going to start to see each other more and more. Yes. We're going to have to continue to support each other as on the other side of this, as we're coming into recovery. Is that something you're starting to talk about, is how, the recovery side, when we start to open up? And I know, every day the governor has a new announcement or task force that are being formed to try to answer some of those questions. So I'm sure your office is getting a lot of those questions.
So we're starting to address that. We've been talking about this, opening the county back up for a couple of weeks. Obviously, we're waiting on some direction from the governor, and we're going to start tomorrow working on a strategic plan as to what that looks like, because we're not just going to be able to open the barn door and let everything out at once. There's going to have to be a process of doing that, and we're working on that currently, and we've been talking about it for about 2 weeks. But then, of course, the governor coming out last week and making some statements discussing the state. We're one of those fortunate counties. We have 0 cases here, 1 in 5, and we're very proud of that. We want to, we don't want to diminish that in any way. We want to keep that number at 0. So, but we are talking about it. We're excited about it. Again, as soon as we get a little bit more direction from the governor, obviously we'll put that information out as quickly as we can.
And the recovery piece start immediately.
Yeah.
So as soon as the incident starts, we're thinking about recovery, because it's way easier to do that documentation and that backup while you're having the incident instead of going back. And our county has harder procurement rates or procurement rules and procedures than FEMA, so that helps us because we're used to that and we're used to having that documentation. So we're already on it. We have a binder full of stuff ready to go.
Right. Well, and I think just talking about, like, even for people to start talking about opening back up in some capacity, it starts to build hope in all of us that we're going to get back to some kind of, normal again. And when the sun starts shining, and all of us in these remote areas, we are ready to get outside. We're ready to do a project. And so I think that's good to just be talking about what it looks like when we do move past and we move into the next.
Our school hasn't called the year either, so they're only calling it 2 or 3 weeks at a time.
And we're very proud of that, just because they're given
that little bit of hope.
Well, yes, as a parent, we're not in that school district, but yes, as a parent, when I know several friends that when it was called, like, we're done, I think there was some moments that happened inside of homes that were like this realization that
Yeah.
They're never going back until the fall. Yeah. And so, and you know, we do have challenging, Heather, you and I were talking about that. Like, we have internet challenges for our kids. And if you do, you know, you go into work, and so you have to rely on them to actually do their work while you're gone, or, you know,
Yeah.
Rosalind.
School if both your parents are essential. It's rough at our house.
Yeah, it's rough when you come back home and say, what did you do today?
Yeah.
Did you eat every snack in this house while we were gone?
How many boxes of cereal can 2 boys eat?
Oh,
Insane.
oh, I know. A lot.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah. Enormous amounts of food. But anyway, I just am so thankful for both of you being able to join me today and to talk about, you know, we are different. We have different challenges. We also have amazing blessings living where we live. But I think it's good for people to know that we're still in communication. You know, things still come down to you, that you text, you know, as the sheriff, if the governor says this, and you have to follow those guidelines, and what does that look like? And then you also have, you know, your people of your county that are relying on you to, they're looking around going, we don't have any cases. We've done a good job. And I think people, we really need to, as we're talking about this too, the community needs to be commended for what we have done. We have been very good. We have regulated ourselves. You know, we're not going to the grocery store twice a week. We're, you know, we're trying to do our very best of staying home, and not, if you don't feel well, stay home, don't go out. So I think that you can really point to several of the counties in our district, and they've done a really, really great job. And I think that we need to highlight that as well.
And like I said, that's been a team effort all along. We have an amazing group working on this team, and I'll forever remember all those people when this is all on, because they were just phenomenal support for us here, and we appreciate all that.
Well, that's great. So I just wanted to tell you both, thank you very much for doing the Zoom with me today. And we were successful. This is always a big deal in remote areas as well. So what is the website, or how can they get a hold of you if anyone has any further questions or concerns?
So we have all of our information on our sheriff's office website. It's www.modocsheriff.us. And then our Facebook page is really, we put everything on our Facebook page. So there, and we have a public information line that's 233-1350, where it's staffed by actual humans, no recordings. They can answer questions and help point residents into resources or whatever they may need. So far, we've been able to answer all the requests, so it's been really nice. Our community's really stepped up, and we're really proud to be Modocers right now.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you again for joining me. This and other information and updates will be available on my website soon. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope you've all learned some helpful information as we all try to protect and prepare our families, our communities in these uncertain times. God bless you and your families. Thank you for staying safe and staying home for now. And we're all in this together. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.